Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. When we get a chance to talk to Hall of Famers like our next guest, it is our pleasure. It's Emmitt Smith who joins us now. Of course, the Dallas Cowboys, great. The Super Bowl MVP, the MVP, Rookie of the Year. How many accolades can we give to Emmitt? He's here on behalf of Narcan Nasal Spray,
Yes.
which is a very important thing. We're going to get to it. But first, you were admiring some of our souvenirs that we purchased, our Elvis music box, which Perloff broke, Emmitt.
Yeah, I was admiring Elvis until I saw his leg broken.
Perloff, how dare you? We were supposed to bring these back to New York.
At least I didn't break an Emmitt Smith bobblehead. That I would protect.
So here in Las Vegas, I'm sure you thought the Dallas Cowboys had a good shot of being in this Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones called the loss to the Packers one of the most devastating that he's been a part of. Did you share that same sentiment, or did you see this coming at all?
No, it was absolutely devastating. I even hate talking about how bad it really was. I don't think it was a good look on the Dallas Cowboys. I think it was a complete reflection of a meltdown that should have never occurred, or a mental block that either we went into the game unprepared, or we went into the game thinking that we were it was going to be a cakewalk or something. The team itself just did not show up. And I don't blame it all on the players. I think coach's job is to make sure the players are ready and put in a position to be successful. And players' jobs are to make sure that they meet that challenge of getting ready and putting themselves in position to make plays and do what is right. But our team just seems to be lost. I mean, I cannot put my finger on why it looks so bad.
So if that's the case, why is Dallas bringing back Mike McCarthy next year?
Because I'm not a GM. And to be honest with you, I thought that move would have been made because of how bad it looked. I think our team and organization right now give the appearance of becoming a great organization and being a great team, and they sell everybody on it every year, and selling people on it and getting the ratings around it is something that's important. But I think there are things that are much more important than all of the hype. I've never known the Cowboys organization to be a hype organization. But I think when you look at our teams, we make the playoff, we look like we're capable of going all the way, but we don't. For some odd reason, I think that's a mental block. I think it's part of preparations of players not meeting the challenge and the expectations of becoming great and establishing your dominance as an individual player or as a group of men. And I don't see that consistently from our team and our organization.
The Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith is here with us on behalf of Narcan, and we'll get to that. Your former Dallas Cowboys teammate, you guys won 3 Super Bowls together. Troy Aikman had a theory. He said he thinks that the weight of the star on the helmet becomes too much when they get to the playoffs, and it creates this too much pressure. I mean, it didn't bother you guys. Is that giving them an easy out?
That is an easy out. I mean, you get paid to come and play the game at the highest level and to perform at the highest level for a long period of time if you're fortunate enough to be there for a long period of time. And so your job as an individual player is to put all that weight aside. Matter of fact, embrace it. I've always embraced the opportunity to be on the big stage. And the big stage is when you make it to the playoff. And you have an opportunity to showcase your dominance, showcase your talent. The bigger the crowd and the bigger the stage, the more I wanted to perform. And I think Troy Aikman was the same way. Irvin was the same way. Dion was the same way. The lights was never too bright because we believed in something greater than just that particular game. We believed in trying to establish a level of dominance and establishing our mark on the game in such a way that it would be rememberable. And that's just the way I grew up. That's the way I was trained in high school. That's the way I was trained when Jimmy got there. That's the team that he was building, and that's the team that he built eventually going to win 3 out of 4 Super Bowls in 4 years. And so I don't buy that. I really don't. I think players today are so caught up in how many Instagram followers they have, how many social posts they can put up there, and how many podcasts they can run, and they forget the fundamentals of why they're there. You're there to win championships. I should not have to tell you what to do. Like Barry Switzer said at one time, he said, I shouldn't have to come in the locker room and motivate you before a game. You get paid a ton of money to do something that you love. You only have a finite time to do it. What else can I say to you? What should I say to you to let you go out there? You going to play any hard if I said something else to you? You should want to play hard. And I think that's a lost art. I think that part right there is why mediocrity exists.
So we talked about the coaching. A lot of people pointing to Dak Prescott had such an outstanding regular season, and he hasn't been able to get over the hump in the playoffs. What's going on with Dak?
I think it's preparation. I mean, some things I can only point to one game, and this to me sums it up for me. This sums it up for me. We're playing Detroit in Dallas, and it's a heck of a game. We actually take the lead. Detroit is driving to try to come down the score and get the lead back. We pick the ball off, and it's about 3 minutes left, and I think they almost are out of timeouts. If not out of timeouts, they will be. All we have to do is just milk the clock. And we get the pick, so we go 1, 2, 3, get the first down, and all we have to do is milk the clock. Instead, guess what? We throw the ball 3 straight times. How smart is that? That is absolutely hideous. All you have to do is just run the rock or take a knee. I don't care. But then when you throw the ball the third time and the quarterback throw the ball out of bounds to stop the clock, it doesn't even take a sack. So that says to me, either he was not prepared properly or he forgot he was playing the game. When do you not play the game and take – see, sometimes players have to overcome coaching. When a coach calls a dumb play and you know it's a dumb play, I'm like, why are we doing this? This doesn't make no sense. If it doesn't make any sense, why are we doing it? Call another play. Run it. And that's what Troy Aikman would have done. He would have done that. He's smart enough to know that. Game situations. And so when I hear people talking about Brock Purdy is a game manager, that is managing game situations. Game situations. You don't manage every play like a game situation, but you have to go into that particular play understanding, okay, it's 3rd and 2. I'm going to drop back the pass or whatever it is, a pass play call. If no one is open, I'm taking off a run and get this first down. Because the next set of downs is important to keep the drive and the momentum moving. Or a coach can sit back and say, you know what? If I kick this field goal right now, we're going to tie the game up. And this game is going back and forth, so maybe we can get in overtime and win it. Well, don't go for 2 twice and not get it both times. And one was a bad call by referees when I'm going back to the Detroit game.
Yep.
Stupidity happens. Where is the – first of all, forget statistics at some point. At some point, you got to go to the point of where we at in the game.
Right.
What do I need to do for my team? How do I keep the momentum going for my players? Because that's part of the game too. So I sit back and I just scratch my head sometimes.
I can imagine. We're talking with the Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith, who's joining us on behalf of Narcan nasal spray, which we'll get to. It's really important. This is, I think, where people find this disconnect with the Cowboys. You just mentioned and went through that game. They won that game, right? Because the Lions handed it to them. They win 12 games a year. How can they be a 12-win team and then get to the playoffs and they look like that?
If you go review my statements over the last 20 years, I've always said the Cowboys have had one of the most talented football teams out there, period. It takes more than just talent to win Super Bowls. It takes more than just talents to become a great football team. It takes chemistry. It takes great leadership. It takes great work ethic. It takes understanding the game itself and where you are in the game and and most importantly, it takes you protecting the football and making the plays when you have a chance to make plays. It takes a lot of different things. And so talent alone is one thing. And they have had tremendous talents. We got tremendous talent right now. You can win just on talents, but will you win the big game? Talent alone won't do it. You bring somebody else with the same kind of talent, but a different focus and a different mentality, you're going to get your behind beat. And that's what has happened to my Cowboys.
So, Emmitt, we talked to Tony Pollard, and he said something interesting. 2 years ago, he said the Cowboys ran the ball to set up the pass, and he felt like last year they passed the ball to set up the run.
Which is contradictory to what Mike McCarthy said. He wants to run the football, but yet he didn't. He wanted to throw the ball 3 straight times in that Detroit game, and they had an opportunity to run the ball. You just don't just show up and say, yeah, we're going to run the football, and not prepare to run the football. The way I was trained and the way we were trained in the 90s, we ran the ball, and we ran the ball effectively, and we prepared to run the football. I'm not saying we ran to set up the pass or we passed to set up the run, but we ran the ball with physicality, and we prepared to be a very physical football team. And therefore, being a very physical and dominant offensive line prepared our defensive line to be physical and dominant. A very physical defensive line prepared our offensive line to be physical and dominant. That, I don't know what's going on right now.
Emmitt Smith with us.
They got a bunch of pass rushers out here trying to just get to the quarterback on rundowns.
So you talk about Mike McCarthy, and you're surprised that he's still the coach of the team. Do they need like a Belichick type figure in your opinion, or a different type of voice or a preparation?
I think, you know what? If we were to go get a new coach, I think Dan Campbell is the kind of coach I would want to have.
Even if he went for it,
even if he went,
2-point conversion?
He can correct that, because mistakes can happen. You can correct those mistakes. We can correct mistakes. Mistakes can be corrected, but when you repeat mistakes, that can be a problem.
Got it.
That can be a problem. So Dan is going to probably go back and evaluate what he did. He seems to be that kind of coach. He is taking responsibility for that team and so forth. So he understands that there's things that he can improve upon. Now, the question is, has he learned enough from his mistakes this past year that got him knocked out of the playoff when they had the game 1-2? Again, are you going to stick to the stats, or are you going to go with what you know? I'm going to go with what I know. I'm going to use the stats when I need them, but if I don't need the stats, I'm going to go with what I know.
Emmitt, you're here. I'm sorry.
Well, I say, what about Belichick, though? Jerry said he could work with him.
Jerry can't work with Belichick. Come on, man. Quit fooling yourselves. Jerry couldn't even work with Jimmy at the time. I mean, but I say that being very facetious. Jerry can work with almost anybody. He can, but I just cannot see Belichick coming in and being the coach that the Cowboys need.
Emmitt here on behalf of Narcan Nasal Spray. There are a lot of things you could lend your platform to. Why was this important to you?
Well, this is important to me because it has hit home a number of different times. Lost a teammate years ago, overdosed. My sister-in-law actually got hooked on some pain medication because she was dealing with cancer itself. And those things led to a couple situations. Then I had a friend who lost his son about 6 to 8 weeks ago to an overdose. And and it wasn't dealing with drug addicts or anything like that. It's the fact that people were utilizing something that could take them out fairly quick. Fentanyl is one of those things. Mm-hmm. And so not knowing what you're doing or what you're taking, if you are taking drugs, and most of the time people think that it cannot happen to them. I mean, fentanyl is just one of those innocent things. I mean, just being around it, and it don't take much just to take you out. And so, most of the time you might not even know you're around it. I mean, most overdoses occur in homes and so forth. And so I'm just trying to get people to be more aware of their surroundings, and also to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And carrying a Narcan nasal spray is one of those things that can help you be ready, whether it's in your purse or in your house or in your golf bag or wherever it may be, having something on you, because you never know when you may need it in a situation.
It's part of Emergent Biosolutions. It's the Narcan nasal spray. It's unfortunately, this is something now in our society that we have to deal with. Yeah. It's really sad.
The only time we hear about those things is when a celebrity or someone else get hurt.
Yeah, I know.
But there's so many other folks that are getting hurt by just opioid overdoses.
I got a 13-year-old, and my wife and I were talking. Should we have Narcan in the house? I mean, they're still a little young.
Yeah, it's a little young, but it may not be your 13-year-old. It may be someone that may be a friend of the 13-year-old.
Yeah.
And you don't know we don't know everything that everyone is dealing with, and so it can be something innocent whether it's at your house or someone else's house.
Yeah.
I mean, 13 it goes somebody else's house. We don't know everything about others' home and their situation, even though we think we do. Come across nice and cordial, et cetera, but we don't know the backgrounds of everyone.
Well, our condolences to your friend.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, and go to norcan.com for more information if you need it, and be safe out there.
Emmitt Smith, the Hall of Famer. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.